I've got a message today that the Lord's laid on my heart, and I want to get it out there. And I've got some people calling me right now. It's hard to get people to understand instructions sometimes. It gets rather frustrating, but God is good. Grace is sufficient. Anyway, so the message that God's laid in my heart today, I think, is going to be profound for all of us. I know it's been for me. One thing that is true about the Lord and the way He works with His Word is, whenever He gives someone a message to share, it's them that He's speaking to first. And so I love preparation time in the Word, because that's when the Lord's really speaking to me, obviously. And the first and foremost place we want to hear from Him is through His Word. I like to hear from His Word first and foremost, because that way I know truth. If it doesn't line up with His Word, it's out the door. Number two is that I put a lot of faith into is circumstances. I don't have control over circumstances. So when I'm going to make a decision, or I want to know if, what's the right thing to do or wrong thing to do, circumstances are leading me in a certain direction. I don't have control over a lot of circumstances. So I listen to that. Next, the third thing would be, there's a wisdom in the multitude of counselors. I want to hear what God's people especially have to say, or experts in certain areas and fields. And that will help lead and guide me to a decision. Last but not least, I listen to my inner voice, my quiet spirit time. The reason I put that last is I don't trust myself. So anyway, when God speaks to us through His Word, there's power in His Word. And again, when you're a teacher and you're a leader, and you all are, if you're on this call right now, you're a leader. Okay. So, and when God is leading you, He's going to speak to you first, and then He's going to give you that message and to get it down inside of you that you're to bring to your people, to your followers. Okay, so I want to read to you real quick as we get started here today, and just think about this and listen to this. This is nothing to do with the message today, but listen to this for a minute. This book of the law, okay, the Bible, shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Man, I love God's Word. So think about that. When you meditate on His Word, that's why I want to share His Word with you. All right, forget everything else. And when it comes to business, there's nothing greater than God's Word. All the biblical principles that we need are found in here, okay? Scripture is where everything of value comes from. I know that. So meditate on this. That means to, chew it, eat it, ponder it, read it, study it, think about it, evaluate it. When morning, noon, and night, all day long, and that's where success and prosperity are going to come from, okay? So that's important. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'll go ahead and share the message with you first. Then I've got a special guest that's on here today that I'm going to interview, and I want you to listen to her, a young lady, and you're going to be amazed at what she's doing right now. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. So the message that I got for you today is out of Matthew chapter 25. And, I don't think it's coincidence that I'm in Matthew chapter 25 because, during our fundraising workshops, we found out last year in 2019 that $850 billion was given last year alone to nonprofits, to the top 100 nonprofits only in the United States. 2019, $850 billion. Number 83 in that list was a ministry called Matthew 25 Ministries. It's a husband and wife ministry started about 30 years ago. Last year, they raised $240 million. Husband and wife started the ministry 30 years ago. Last year, $240 million. Nothing is impossible with God. All things are possible. So I don't think when it comes to business, again, you just heard in Joshua 1 in verse 8 that, to meditate, and when we know His Word, and there's wisdom in His Word. And when we meditate on it, when we chew on it, when we understand it, when we pray about it, and we listen to it, and that's the most important thing, and do what it says. He says, you will prosper. He promises you that you will prosper and you will have success. Okay, so that's what is most important. So Matthew chapter 25. So this is what's known as the parable of the talents. Okay, he's speaking to his disciples in a parable here. And Jesus said, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey." I want to stop right there for a minute. So in the very first scripture, it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like," stop, put the brakes on. The kingdom of heaven, okay, is like, and I don't know about you, but I'm really interested in the kingdom, okay, of heaven, because, eventually we're going to be there in all its glory, all right? But it's already here. Jesus, when he came, he said, repent, change your way of thinking, for the kingdom of heaven is here. He brought the kingdom when he came here. But here's we find in scripture in Matthew 25, "For the kingdom of heaven is like," and now he's beginning to explain to us what the kingdom of heaven is like in this one particular area. So I just want to pause there so we understand the importance of that. This parable is talking about it's the way it's going to be in the kingdom of heaven. And he says, it's like a man traveling to a far country. Put the brakes on again. A man traveling to a far country. That's the way the kingdom of heaven is like that. A man traveling to a far country. You know what that's speaking of? It's speaking of God, okay? It's speaking of God, and we're going to, hear more about that in a minute here. I'm letting some more people in our call. Praise God, okay? And again, we're a faith-based, Christ-centered opportunity here, organization here, and I encourage you, anytime to invite, those of you that have, believers that are friends, associates, get them on the call. The more of God's people that we have, the more people that are part of our opportunity, that are, listening and following God. And there's a wisdom in a multitude count. We want that. We invite that. But anyway, for the kingdom of heaven is like this, okay? A man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. A man traveling to a far country. If this is the way it is in heaven, that's what Jesus is saying, the kingdom of heaven is like this, then I believe that's speaking of God, okay? God is traveling. He's already traveled, you and I. He's put us here on this earth, and he's gone to a far country, okay? Now, for those of us that believe, he's living in us, and he abides in us, and we got the Holy Spirit with us, all right? But this is very symbolic of the way heaven is. God has created each and every one of us, but he's in a far place right now. He's spirit, and we're in this physical world right now. And the Bible is saying that the kingdom of heaven is like this, a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants, me and you, and delivered his goods to them. God has given us some goods. He has given us some goods. And we're going to talk about those goods here in a minute. And now listen, and to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Okay, so here's a man who's entrusted his goods, in this case, talents of silver. By the way, silver, a talent of silver is about 6,000 denarii back in the biblical times, and 1 denarii was a day's wages. So this was something of great value. This is 6,000 days' wages, and he gave to one, he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2 talents, and to another he gave 1 talent. He trusted his servants with these talents worth a lot of money, okay? And that's the story. And again, this is symbolic of the way the kingdom of heaven is, okay? Now here's what happened. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. And likewise, he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid the Lord's money. Whose money was it? Whose goods were they? They were the Lord's. They're God's goods. God gave Here, well, I should say that this parable he's speaking of is this Lord, this master that they had, this business owner, that gave them these talents, and he went to a far country, but these were his servants, okay, and he trusted them and gave them this treasure and expected them to go out and bring him a return on his investment. And we find out that the first man who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. He did good. He invested wisely. Okay, he took care of that gift, that talent that God had, that his Lord had given him, and he went and he invested it, and he did well with it. He worked it. He made 5 more talents. Okay, so he did well. He invested wisely, and he did well. And then the one with 2, it says, and likewise he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. So he too went and he invested wisely, and he got 2 more talents that he was able to bring back to his Lord and said, hey, Lord, I made some good trades. I made some good deals. I invested wisely. Here's your 2 talents back. Plus here's 2 more. I did good with it. Okay. What you gave me. All right. I did good. But then he who had received 1, he went and dug in the ground and hid the Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. Now, this is where it gets very important, and we're going to talk about how this affects you and me today. And by the way, thank you everybody that's on the call today. Insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. The fact that you're here today might be something different than what you did yesterday, and it's going to make a difference in your life moving forward. I promise you that, okay? Because God's word is true, and it will deliver on his promises. That's a fact, okay, that we can count on. So here's the deal. So here's what the Lord did now. Here's how it goes. So he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents besides them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Again, this is symbolic of the way heaven is, the kingdom of heaven is, right? So here the word is telling us and here's where it gets interesting, okay? And I believe that man far away is God, okay? So God gave us gifts. He gave us talents. He gave us abilities, okay? I love seeds. Seeds are amazing things, Matter of fact, I was thinking the other day, I might do this. I might take a 30 or 60 day trial and just go buy some different fruits and vegetables, right? And just take the seeds out of there and start to plant them and see, a seed is an amazing thing. It grows into a tree that produces what? More fruit that's got seed in it. The seed is in itself. God has put within you and me great talent and great treasure, and he wants us to go and use it and invest in it. Guess whose treasures they are? They're his. These talents are his that he placed in us, okay? He says, heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them, to me and you. He delivered the goods to us, but they're not our goods, they're his goods. And he says to that man that gained 5 more talents besides him, he says, well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I gave you 5 talents and you were faithful over them. I will now make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. He also, who received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, you delivered me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents besides them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Again, and here's the thing. God has given to each of us different gifts, talents, and abilities, right? And he doesn't ask more of you than what is required. He's not gonna give you more than you can bear. Okay, so he doesn't roll that way. So the reality is, the talents he might have given, one person might have, XYZ talents, and the other one might only have X talent, whatever, but to each he's given what he's wanted to give to them. So whatever gifts, talents, and abilities that you have, and believe me, you're going to find out as we go through this message, you're going to find out that that your gifts, and they're already in you, your talents, and they're already in you too, because a seed is in itself. So, but you're going to find out as your life goes on that you've got a lot of gifts and talents and abilities, and now they're starting to multiply. Those of us that are walking in this, right? It's starting to multiply. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But here's the sad part. Then he who had received the one talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look there, you have what is yours. Okay. So now let's cut that up. Let's dive into that a little bit. Then he said, then he who had received the one talent came and said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sown. Now think about that for a minute, because this is like the kingdom of heaven, right? This is symbolic of the kingdom of heaven. And if God is the man, so to speak, far away, and he's created, he's given to us seeds, might have been 40 years ago, they were planted in you when that sperm found that egg. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, right? Okay? And he's far away, and a long time has passed, and then the Lord is coming back, right? So he's coming back to give an accounting. We're to give an accounting of what we've done with the gift, talents, and abilities that he's given us, right? So here, this servant that got the one talent, he says about the Lord, right, his master, Lord, you're a hard man. You reap where you haven't sowed. You're getting a harvest where you haven't scattered seed. All right, so he's starting to say something. Guess what? That isn't true about his Lord. It's not true, right? And the Lord knows that, right? He's, in other words, he's making an excuse. Now listen to this. But his Lord answered and said to him, you wicked and lazy servant. Think about that. You wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. In other words, he's saying to him, you say that, okay? Did you know that about me? Yet still, look at it. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him. He gave a command. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given. Here's the key. And he will have abundance, but from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So there's still a lot in there that I want to unpack. Okay, so every one of us has been given different talents and abilities. All right, you've got a lot of talents, and they might be different from mine. You just might not know what they are. Okay. So, but you've been given talents, and you know what? When God, who is the giver of every perfect gift, he loves to give the best. I mean, that's the way God is, and He's placed within each one of us different gifts, talents, and abilities. Right? So He knows what He's doing. Now, for me and you, I'm going to just use my story as an example. That's all I can talk about is me. When I was young, when I was 21 years old, I was a foreman at General Motors. I was making good money back then. I mean, that's when GM, it's back in the late 70s, early 80s. I'm making good money. I was a manager at General Motors, youngest supervisor ever at the largest GM complex in the world, making big money, big shot, wore a tie to work every day. Hard job, tough place to work. Very young, doing what I was doing, supervising men 2-3 times my age. That's a fact. But the reality is I was so insecure in myself, right? Here I was, a leader, so to speak, yet I was really within myself. I was so insecure. As a matter of fact, I took a public speaking class. My GM came out. We had a new plant manager, and he came out. Let me let somebody else in the room here. And he came out with a new requirement that in order for a frontline supervisor to become a general supervisor, you had to have a college education. Well, I didn't have a college education, so I had to go back to school. So at 21, they were going to pay for my schooling, so I decided to go back to college, and I wanted to get that next level, position, become a general supervisor. And the first class that I took was public speaking. So here's me, Mr. Big Shot, 21 years old. I've got 6 first-line supervisors working for me on a temporary basis. I've got 200 hourly employees at one of the toughest GM plants in the country as far as the union goes, so on and so forth. Big tough guy. I get up to give a 2-minute speech in front of this class, and guess what? I passed out. I mean, think about that, okay? So, and during that time, I got really depressed. And I actually went to a doctor at one time, and the doctor gave me antidepressants, and I started to think about that, and he said, he introduced me to this guy that really helped me a lot, this public speaking trainer that I had met, and I got introduced to him. And anyway, this guy told me, he said, Scott, he says, you have so many gifts, you have so many talents. And why are you depressed? And he started talking to me about that, and I listened to him, and thank God I did. And one thing led to another. But the story is that I'm trying to share with you is I didn't think I had any gifts, talents, or abilities. I thought so low of myself, okay, at that particular time in my life. So now I've gone full circle now, and I want you to understand that I'm a very humble person, right? But I do know that my God wants me to know because of this kingdom of heaven, because God has given me and you dominion over this earth. And this earth is like the kingdom of heaven. It's a kingdom, right? And you and I are royal priesthood, and we're to walk in the kingdom like royal priests, right? So now you start to think about that. See, you can't place low value on something that is valuable as what God has given you, because God has given you good talent, and it's worth a lot. As a matter of fact, it's worth so much to God. Why? Because His name's sake is on what's on the line here, right? It's His name's sake, and God doesn't make junk, right? So what I did the other day was I started to think about talents and gifts and abilities, because here's the problem with me and you. We, as human beings, we are so complacent, and not just complacent, but we're so habitual. We do the same thing basically every day. That's why I did a little video today. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I did a little video and I threw it out there about insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. If you like the results that you got yesterday or last month or last year, just keep doing it. You'll keep getting the same results, right? Whatever you do or whatever you think about, you'll become an expert at it. So if it's not good, you'll become an expert at not getting good results, right? But so we want to make some changes. Now, here's the deal. I started to think about, okay, what are my gifts, talents, and abilities? Now, from a man that at 21 years old that didn't think he had any real good gifts, talents, and abilities, that was depressed all the time and really thought low of himself, here's some of the notes I made. All right, I've got incredible leadership abilities now. I've got passion. I am full of passion. God gave me that. I'm full of energy at 60 years old, man. I'm full of energy. I love life, right? So I got a lot of energy. And you'll like this one. I'm ruddy and good looking, just like David. You gotta like that one, right? But guess what? God made me the way I am, right? And to me, I know I'm ruddy. That means I'm kind of physically attractive. I got a decent body, and I'm good looking. At least I was at one time in my life. But that's a gift from God, right? That's a gift, talent, and ability that He gave me. Not I had anything to do with. He's given me the spiritual gift of encouragement. He's given me the spiritual gift of teaching, the spiritual gift of preaching, all of those things. And listen, did I have those years ago? Yes, I just didn't know it, right? But now I know it because I live it every day, and I think. I don't think more highly of myself than I should, but I know who I am in Christ. I know what God has given me, right? He's made me an incredible visionary. That's all you hear me talk about. And I'm a visionary, man. I mean, matter of fact, Walter Cronkite, and a lot of you guys probably don't remember who Walter Cronkite is, but he's an old newscaster. And he was, the top newscaster in his day, during the Kennedy years and Nixon and so on and so forth. But Walter Cronkite interviewed Helen Keller. And Helen Keller, if you don't know who she is, she's probably the most influential and most successful blind from birth human being that ever walked the face of the earth. And Walter Cronkite had read her book that she had wrote, and he interviewed her during a newscast one time. And he asked her, he said, "Hey, Helen, let me ask you a question. Is there anything possible in this lifetime that could be worse than being blind? And she said, oh, yes. She said, having eyes, but not being able to see. Okay, so, when it comes to vision, what I'm talking about is, the ability to believe in something and see it before it's ever even started, okay? And really to believe it to the point where it becomes reality. Belief is the field that creates your reality. As a man thinks in his heart, so he is, or so he shall be. And I really believe that. So I'm an incredible visionary. I've got incredible vision. I've got a spirit of optimism, in case you haven't noticed that. I can't stand, and I'm sorry, I love people, I love everybody, but negative people around me, boy, we don't get along too well, right? I mean, I'm so optimistic, so positive. I've got a spiritual gift of encouragement, so I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to encourage you. But if you're negative all the time, you're not going to want to be around me, okay? Because I'm an encourager. That's one of the gifts that I have. I have incredible enthusiasm. My enthusiasm is contagious, okay? So I'm very enthusiastic, as you probably already know. I know my purpose. God's given me the ability. He's given me some wisdom, another gift of his. I know what my purpose in life is. I know where my destiny is. I know where I'm going, okay? That's important. I've got a deep knowledge of God's word. Listen, I love his word. I've been in his word for 30 years every day. Okay. I've read the Bible through so many times. I've memorized the entire Sermon on the Mount. I've memorized hundreds of other scriptures. Okay. I mean, God's word is in the ability to, faith is the evidence of things not seen, right? But the gift of faith, in Ephesians 2:8-9 says, for you are saved by grace through faith, and not of works, lest any man should boast. And that faith is a gift from God. The ability to believe and to learn and to study and to, chew on his word is from him. Okay, that's a gift. God gave me that, the ability to have such a great knowledge of his word, be able to retain that. I have incredible faith, right? And, I wear my faith on my sleeve. I live it every day. I've got a successful mindset. All right, so I'm not boasting. I'm just telling you that these are things. I've got incredible creativity and innovation within me. I love to create and innovate and think about things and again, falls into my visionary. I'm skilled in producing things. I've built numerous businesses from scratch, from a vision to fruition, and so on and so forth. I'm right now, I'm skilled in video production. I'm learning that, mastering it now. I'm skilled in web page and landing page design. I've been doing that for quite a number of years now on my own. I'm a skilled student. What do I mean by that? I'm a sponge. I love to listen and learn and get it. I send myself more emails than I get from everybody else, because what I do is I'm spending, I like to spend a tithe, that's 2 hours and 40 minutes of every day of my life with time with the Lord and on personal development. So 2 hours and 40 minutes of my day I'm spent working on me, right? And during that time, I come across messages after messages after messages. If I showed you my email, which I could show you, today alone, I probably sent myself 6 emails, about 6 different messages that I heard or that I want to remind myself of and use as I'm moving forward down the road. So again, I think I have excellent persuasion skills, and I'm a pretty good communicator, and I'm very focused. So again, why am I telling you all of this? Because I want you to start identifying those gifts, the talent that God has given you. See, I told you today that I was going to share with you a message of hope and inspiration. So I know that the God who created you in his image and in his likeness has put within you greatness. He has put within you prosperity. He has put within you leadership. He has put within you gifts, talents, and abilities. But what have you done with it? That's the key. Because the promise is that he who is faithful with a little will be faithful with much, and he will be made a ruler over many things. That's what I want for you, and that's what God wants for you. If you're going to be successful at fundmyhome.org, let's pull this right around. This is a passage about business, by the way. It's about money, right? This is God speaking, right? It's about money. If you're going to be successful in business, you've got to identify your gifts. And I don't care if you're 40, I don't care if you're 20, 40, 60, 80 years old. You know, Moses was 80 years old when he was called to lead the children out of Egypt and lead them to the promised land. He was 80. He died when he was 110. Joshua was 80 years old when he led the Israelites across the Jordan River. He died when he was 105, right? So age has no bearing. The man that's far away, Jesus that's far away, he's coming back, okay? He's coming back soon, a lot of us believe. And when he comes back, you know, we want to be able to say, hey, Lord, you know, thank you so much. You've given me all these gifts and look what I've done with them. So, you know, my vision, make my next 20 my best 20. I've got a new vision now, 2021. 777. I'm going to work as hard as I can the next 7 years. Then I'm going to get 7 years of prosperity while I still work, and then 7 years of rest. I'll be 81 then, and then God's going to call me to the next vision. He's going to lead me to whatever He has for me at that particular time, right? So I hope you know that this is inspiring to you. Don't be like the one. Okay, so you know there's 3 men. One was given 5, one was given 2, one was given 1. And the one, he said to him that dug the hole and said, you know, Lord, you know, you reap where you don't sow, you know. He called him wicked. And why was he wicked? Because he was lazy and he tried to make an excuse that, you know, he just wanted to protect that. That's why I didn't go out and work, you know. The problem with you and me, for the most part, is we make excuses. And that's what this really is all about. We have to stop making excuses and start being doers of the word. And when we're doers of the word, guess what? The word will do what it says in our lives. And that's when we're going to be prosperous. All right. So I hope this stirs you up today, the eagle's nest. And again, the eagle, and I watch my eagles right in my backyard every day, you know, and I watch them bringing these big branches, flying into the tree with these big branches. And I'm thinking, man, the nest is so big. I mean, this thing's literally, you know, it's about 8 feet tall. It's about 3-4 feet wide, big, huge branches. The eagles bring them back and forth every day. Why are they doing that? Because they've got young eagles in the nest. They're stirring that nest up to get the eagles out to soar on their own. That's what these messages are designed to do, right? So I hope this has been an inspiration to you. Use the talent that you've already got. And guess what? When you do that, you're going to find out that you've got other gifts, talents, and abilities already within you that are going to start to manifest themselves, right? And the abundance is going to come, some 10-fold, some 30-fold, some 100-fold, right? So it's not about the money. It's about the talents that you have and using those talents for His glory. And when we get focused on that, you can't help but be successful. So you've all got great gifts, talents, and abilities. And I just want you to start thinking about that and start using them as we move forward. All right. So thanks for that. Now I'm going to bring on somebody right now. Ali Musa, can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hey,
Ali, welcome to the Eagle's Nest. Did you like what you heard today?
Yeah, of course.
All right, that's great. Thanks for being here with us today, Ali. Ali, how old are you?
I am 18 years old.
18 years old. Okay, so I know Ali pretty well because she's my stepdaughter, right? So now I'm going to share something with you. So you talk about innovation, talk about marketing, talk about faith. You know, here's a perfect example of it. So Ali, about 3 months ago, you're working at a bar restaurant, right? And you're also working where?
Ford.
No, before then. You're working
Home Depot.
Home Depot. Thank you. So she's working 2 jobs at 18 years old. Good for you, by the way, Ali. I mean, man, you're a go-getter, you know, and I just thank God for that. So you're working, and by the way, where do you live now?
North Carolina.
Where at?
In Asheville.
Asheville, North Carolina. And I've been there now, and I love it. Beautiful place. Excuse me. Can't wait to go back there and visit with you. So Ali is 18 years old. 3 months ago, she's working at Home Depot, and she's working at a bar restaurant where she's actually was a bouncer, believe it or not, at 18 years old, and she was a bouncer. But she had a guy working with her that's about 6'6", about 300 pounds, and built like, you know, no tomorrow. Okay, so Ali was the voice and he was the muscle. But anyway, so Ali, about 3 months ago, she's working at these 2 jobs, and all of a sudden, we hear that she's got a new job. So Ali, where was the new job that you got?
At Ford.
At Ford, okay. And how did you hear about this job at Ford?
I did a whole bunch of research about different types of jobs nowadays that are making a lot of money, and I searched online and on Indeed and wherever, and that just popped up, and I was like, man, I went to 5 different dealerships, interviewed everywhere. I went to Ford. I told them that I had passion, ambition, I had a drive for what I wanted to do, and then I went through 3 interviews at Ford and finally got the job there.
Okay. So what is the job that you're doing right now?
So I online, when people put in leads, so if that's TrueCar, our Asheville Ford website, any Facebook marketplace like that, first thing I do, I see the lead, I get the name, I give them a phone call, and I tell them to come down to the dealership. But if they don't answer, my next thing is an email or a text message.
Okay, great. So really you're doing online digital marketing, right? That's what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. The first month that you were there, how many cars did you sell?
I think it was like 8.
8. Okay, how about the second month?
32.
How about last month?
I think it was in the 40s.
Okay, so now I don't know. I hope everybody's listening to this right now, right? I mean, she's 18 years old. Okay, she's just out of high school. She's doing digital marketing she's never done digital marketing before, right? And what's our excuse? I mean, really, what is our excuse? We've got so much talent. We are 50, 60, 70 years old. We've got so much talent. Do you know that the average human being only uses about 6 to 10% of their brain? I mean, think about that. Just think what you and I are really capable of doing if we'll stop being lazy and stop playing games. If Allie at 18 years old could sell 40 cars in a month online, just think what you and I are capable of doing. Allie, I know you're excited about your job now and you love what you're doing, but I know one thing for sure, this isn't the end all for you, is it?
Nope.
You got dreams, right?
Yes.
I know. See, one thing about Allie, every time she gets a job, she tells me, Dad, I learned this from that job. She worked at Starbucks, right? And she said, she would tell me the bad and the good, but she always told me the good things that she learned from Starbucks, right? Right, Allie?
Yeah.
So she takes, everywhere she goes, she takes a little more and she learns a little more. And you know what? And now that gift is starting to grow and prosper. And look where she is today at 18 years old. By the way, what did you just buy, Allie?
A brand new truck.
18 years old. I mean, I am so proud of you, Allie. Okay, you're doing such a great job. So you're an inspiration to me and to everybody around you. So keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for sharing with us today. And this call is being recorded. I'm sure we're going to use it in a lot of things coming down the road. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. Love you.
All right. Love you too.
Okay. You can go ahead and mute yourself.
Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember to hit the notification bell to stay tuned for more important content, our ongoing success, and the happy stories of our down payment assistance recipients.